It is Friday night, another episode of Talk to Me, and I am completely unprepared. Completely unprepared. I have a phone number. If anybody wants to come and join, they're welcome to. The show phone number is 503 902 1176. 503 902 1176. This is a Google Voice number, free for USA calls only. I want to see something here. I want to see if I got the orientation of my reality right. I want to know if, do I have, is it things backwards? Oh, it is right. You are seeing things backwards. Okay. All right. Be part of the show. Talk to me. I think that's what it says, right? Be part of the show. Talk to me. Except one talk to me is backwards and one is forward. All right. So I was hoping I could get some guests on the fly, but that's not going to happen. Caller maybe from Seattle or someone come in from the Bay Area, but that might be next week. We may have a Bay Area person come in next week where we will be discussing health and wellness. Health and wellness in troubling times. Now, I started talking last week about this journal that I have in my possession. It is a journal from a relative, Lucy Minor Bosworth. This is about a journey that was taken in 18. Let me get to the page. I think it wasn't 18. I think it was 1882. 1882. Once I get to the right page, there it is. 1882, from Southern California to Oregon. And so these were my the Bosworth. These were my relatives who were Oregon Trail people who came to the United States on the Oregon Trail, and they came not to the United States. They came to the West Coast along the Oregon Trail. They came out from Ohio. This was my strain of my family that is Mayflower descendant. The Mayflower descendant family that I have. And this here is a journal from a woman who is a direct ancestor. She's like an aunt, like close like that, like an aunt, like a great aunt. And oh, and if you're listening, Carrie from Seattle, why don't you give that phone number a try again? Give the phone number a try again, and let's see what comes up. We are and they left in. I'll tell you what. I'll just call it back. That was from January 30th. No. Okay, Carrie, try the phone number again. Try the number again, please, and let's see if it'll work this time. But anyway, so what they did is they took a train from Ohio to Southern California, from Ohio to Southern. Hello. And there we go. My caller. I have a caller. Wait. Are you there?
I am here.
Caller. My caller is here. Good. All right. Let me put you closer to the telephone. I mean, to the microphone. and I'll just pile this up. And so I have a caller calling in from Seattle. Welcome, walking the part, and who is an artist. She is an expert artist in her in collage, and she's a poet. Do you have a poem or something you'd like to share with everybody?
A poem?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to talk about rabbit hole.
Well, that is a rabbit hole, wouldn't it be? Talking about a poem or anything that like that you, but you don't have it handy. You don't have it handy. You don't have anything handy.
I was going to talk about my turtle.
Okay. Let's talk about
my paper mache turtle.
Your paper mache turtle. That's great. So I will demonstrate to people on the screen a this is a paper mache bird, but she has been doing this paper mache a paper mache turtle. So Daniel EPD, yes. Welcome. Welcome, Daniel. And so can you tell?
Hi, Daniel.
Yeah, please. So tell us about your turtle.
Oh, well, when you said rabbit holes, I thought, well, okay, maybe I could talk about an animal that I'm working on, but it's not a rabbit, it's a turtle. But
well, I guess
I've been working on it a terribly long time.
I guess when
it keeps getting more complicated. And
so I guess when I was thinking about rabbit holes, I was thinking Alice in Wonderland and going into Wonderland with the following the white rabbit into the hole and to see what comes up. But let's talk about that. And so, but talking about that, but this turtle that you've been,
that's always true.
With this turtle that you're working on is like going down the rabbit hole, because we haven't actually really talked about art on this channel. I've done a lot of art on this channel, but I haven't really had anybody on who was just a straight artist on the show, except for right now.
Well, here I am.
Here we are.
Here I am, a real artist who gets in rabbit holes all the time. So anyway, I started this turtle and I spent way too much time on it, and I felt like it was going to be endless. But now it's finally pulling together. So what started to make it work was I have some lace paper. If you can believe, in Thailand they make the most beautiful paper that looks like lace, and I found this paper with lace doilies on it, and so I bought just one sheet. I didn't have any particular use for it, but I have an affection for lace and doilies. And so I put the lace on the feet and the head, and then that looked pretty nice. So then I had the turtle shell was blue. I made it blue with blue paper. And then I had another lacy doily a friend gave me years ago that I had painted light blue. And so the other night I put that over the shell. So the legs are white lace, and then the shell is this blue lace. It looks really lovely. And then I cut one of the doilies out. I only have a sample of this other doily paper, and I found out they don't make it anymore. So anyway, I put that on the very top of the shell, and then I have a teapot on top of that. So it's starting to come together, and there's a lot more too, but starting to come together.
So the turtle is built on a teapot?
A teapot? There's a miniature teapot. Okay. So the turtle is white lace, and then its shell is blue lace, dark and light blue. And then I have a little, sure what they call them. Is it called a cozy? I'm not sure, but it's like a little lace placemat that's circular, that's on the very top. And then on top of that, I'm putting a teapot. So it's carrying the teapot.
Oh, it's carrying the teapot. So I was having these visions of the turtle swimming in the ether, and it had the flat earth on top of it.
Oh.
A cosmic flat.
No, it's not flat. I think I'm going to glue it down so it'll be curved, like a curved earth on top of it.
I see.
But that's the placemat.
Okay.
And then there's a mouse that goes with it. I mean, the mouse, they're a pair. That's what's making it even more complicated. So the mouse is also lace. And they're both on painted block. And then there's a bracelet that goes around too. So anyway, it's very complicated. As usual, spent way too much time. But I think it's going to work now.
Okay.
It took a long time.
So you have the turtle, and it's carrying a teapot, but it also has a mouse friend that is trailing along. Is the mouse like the moon? Then we have the because I was thinking of these mythological images of how they once used to think about the Earth, and that it was on the back of a cosmic turtle.
I like that.
Yeah. And then, but instead, it's a cosmic teapot, and because tea and mice and biscuits go together, right?
Right. So I did really want cake, and I still might do that. But for the turtle, I have a lace plate, and I have a ladybug on the plate. I mean, this is very cute. So,
Yeah.
I like cute things, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I haven't really met I haven't met too many women.
What?
I haven't met too many women who don't like cute things.
Really? Is that a female trait?
I think it is. I mean, I got things. They're not necessarily cute. They're just things, I mean, I have like a collection of icons, and then there's like another icon that I want to get, but I'll have to wait until the budget is right.
An icon of what?
Well, they are an icon is a it is a material medium that people use in order to gain divine insight from.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you in the ancient times, it would be like a little statue, and so like they would have like a it would be of a divine media, like two clay tablets that have 10 commandments on them. That's a material media, and you look at the words on there and you gain some divine insight from them. And so
Mm-hmm.
like the Torah or other scriptures, that's a divine media, that a media that is used, that so that the person who is reading and looking at it can look into it to see something different. And so I was trying to find the he was in one of the Gnostic gospels, and it was kind of talking about exactly how this kind of works, and is where this stuff incites the imagination, and through the imagination one is able to connect up to whatever you think of of a divine realm or a spiritual realm or something like that. And so an icon, these are icons, are the are or Christian Orthodox um uh pictures or symbols. Have you ever been into an Orthodox church before? And they have
I'm not sure that I have.
yeah. Well, it would be if they do, they have all kinds of images, and that way, and so like before the printing press, these images were ways that they used to tell the story of the mythology. That was one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but that was one of the.
What do you think about the fact that, um, so, we love, like, I went to the animal show at the Sam today,
Mm-hmm.
and there was, I would say, it was very iconic, um, and pieces were all the way, you know, going back to ancient Egypt and
Mm-hmm.
such. But um, what do you think about that? We put these attributes to animals that maybe they they are not like that at all in their day-to-day life.
I think that when we are using animals, we're thinking about animal spirits and what those animal spirits may represent, like maybe lion representing strength, or like a cat, maybe stealth, like a panther, stealth, or like a snake to representing the renewing of life, and things like that, rather than are they representing actual animals. Because um I mean, I think that they ran the language of crows through AI models, and I think that they can kind of decode what the crows are saying, because the crows, it seems, are more conscious than what people have, give them credit for. Actually, people are they're beginning to see that maybe the animals are more conscious than we think they are. And
Yeah, I have heard that crows are highly intelligent. But I'm thinking of, like, when you watch a nature show on TV, and I and so much of it is about this animal hunted this animal. Like, I was watching one, and actually, I'll give you an example of the rabbit, because the rabbit was so cute, right? And it's so pretty. And it was some animal in the cat family. I can't remember which one, but it saw the rabbit, and then it hunted it, and it caught it, and it killed it. And it just seemed like this is a lot of what their life is about, or is this what the producers of the animal documentaries know people want to see?
It may be a little bit of a both, because the animals do have to eat, and they and see, we all, until we come into a place where we are eating the goop that comes out of the hovercrafts, or what in the Matrix movies, which is the um essential minerals and proteins and everything else. It would be, maybe it looks like tapioca or something,
Or
that
they can make meat in the lab.
they can make meat in a lab. And so instead of killing these animals for our food, we take we borrow from their cells, from their DNA, and then we recreate those things. Welcome, Lucy. Warren's World. Yeah, that's great. I haven't seen your name pop up over here for a while, so I'm starting my talk show, and you were there when I remember when Elizabeth read on whether or not I should do this, and so here we are. I'm doing this, Lucy. Anyways, I'm just, as a side note, that was
Did she think you should do? Did she think you should do it?
I think so. Everybody did say that. They said that that I should do this. But nevertheless, so if we look at the animals, and how, if because when we think of our vegetarianism, because the part of vegetarianism that never made sense to me is what about the plants' lives? What about the lives of the plants? Aren't they?
They have a lot of feelings too.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's like, okay, so what it maybe it means, what it is that if you have any kind of spiritual life at all, or if you look at, let's say, the Native Americans, the pre-Western peoples had rituals, and they had rituals around their food, and maybe these rituals around the food were all about aligning yourself with your food. So it's an alignment thing, and so that you are giving thanks to the plants, you're giving thanks to the animals, you're giving thanks for this life to give you life.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah. And I think the problem is, and this is what we don't want to think about, though, is just how intelligent the animals are. We want to think of them as food.
Yes.
It's really hard to think of them as feeling and intelligent and iconic, as icons of deeper meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That is it is hard, because when you have, like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, because everything is, on one level or another, is conscious. Mangled Unicorn, welcome. And thank you. Lucy's Warren World. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good group tarot read from, it was like 2 months ago, I think it was in like November. I've been like toying with the idea of doing a call-in show for, I think, 6 months now, maybe a little longer. And here I am. I got my actually, yeah, since like June, I think it was. But you know me. I move really slow on some of these things, and then when I move on them, then I jump on it really fast. So I'll go around and ask advice of a bunch of people, and then they'll all tell me no, and then I say, like, okay, well, I'm doing it anyway. And
well, I think you've always wanted to do that, like have your own Tom Hartman show or something.
More like Art Bell show, but because Tom Hartman does political commentary, and then I don't have I mean, yeah, I do follow political political commentary, but uh I don't have that kind of mind that I want to spend that much time reading the news and reading about that stuff in order to put the stories together. And so like my buddy Don passed away in December from kidney cancer, and he had a mind. He put the news together like Tom Hartman put the news together. Like, and so he was telling stories. But I don't but that's not the point of this program. Is not a that I'll maybe if I do politics, it's not partisan politics. I don't really want to mention parties or anything else because I don't want to alienate anybody because of their how they vote and all that, if that makes any sense. But so that's why I kind of stayed.
Well, I think, I think that's really cool if you want to create sort of a artist salon or something like that, where
Well,
artists can come and talk about art.
well, that's not the
Very
only
nice.
only thing that goes on. Yesterday we were talking about reality. My Thursday guest was sick and couldn't make it, so I was making stuff up as I was going along, and kind of making stuff up. But anyways, but yeah, but if we go back to your icon things and the animals and all of that, and yeah, I wonder about that because the animals, which they are, I believe they're conscious beings because I remember from. Well, actually, this is just me putting stuff together since 2020, since the world stopped turning for a while, and I started watching the world and started watching the animals and all of that, and then you see or the dog, and you're thinking, oh, this the dog's communicating with me. Comes and gets me, and then or goes away, and there's a way of thinking, oh, I never noticed that before. It's just things like that. Now my mother always, she picks up on that and said, oh yeah, Pee-wee missed you today, or that, or maybe she, I don't know, I don't, she does stuff like that. I wasn't home and Pee-wee missed me, or you know and
Well, when I started making animals, I thought it would be nice to work on animals instead of people, because with people you always have to, it's always an eyes, nose, and mouth. And so, I don't know, I was just thinking it would be nice to do something not so people-centric, because all we think about is people all the time. And then, of course, with animals, I have to think a lot about their expressions and do they have eyes, nose, and mouth too?
mhm.
So that becomes, once I'm just starting, I always save the features for last. And now I'm just starting to work on, oh, okay, well, what do I want to do for the eyes and the nose and the mouth? And so last night, I had some beads on my table. They used to be on the plate.
Mhm.
And so I put a bead for an eye, and it kind of really looks perfect. It's like kind of a little round. It's very small round bead, and then there's how eyes, they have like a white dot in them usually,
You mean
and that's
a white dot in
like
them?
when you see eyes and art, quite often there's like a little. I know we have pupils and everything, but there's a little white dot, and that white dot is a reflection of light on a round shape.
Yes.
And so I put the mouse eye temporarily there, and it has a white dot on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very expressive.
Well, people, a lot of people, they do art, and they do people all the time, and portraits of people. But yeah, that's right, because not everybody has to do that. You can, I know that, but I don't have the eye hand coordination to even do people. Now, I have tried with like blind drawings and stuff like that, where I put the notebook up like this in front of my eyes, and then I look at the screen, and I try to make a shape. My drawings of faces, they're more cartoonish, and they're more cartoon like images, and so not necessarily like people, like the icon art. But I like this one here. It's the scene of the risen Jesus pulling people out of the graves and then bringing them to life. And that's like the resurrection. And but the Jesus is coming out of a portal. So it's like, I always kind of think of it, they're coming out of a portal of another world. And if you were a Eric von Daniken, you might be thinking, oh, he's coming out of a UFO, and that's the bright light of the flying saucer, and then they're bringing this technology from the stars, and it's resurrecting the people. Uh, but nevertheless, as you know me, I do landscapes, because, or and things like that, and then when I do add like birds in them, they're kind of just look like S shapes and things like that. My S shaped birds, and you try to make them into some kind of proportion, but then I look at them and I think, well, maybe they don't need to be in proportion. Maybe they just need to be like some strange alien life, that strange alien life, and it just adds it into the scene. The Yeah. So while you've been talking, I've been kind of to give some variety for the viewers, I've been flashing my art on the screen here, so that's just not just me. And so one of them, Mangled Unicorn, said, "Oh, I like the moon tree one," and so this one is this is a piece of my tarot art. I have done a little bit of tarot art, but I think of like the moon card, and there's like the face of the man on the moon, but then the way the colors go, it's almost like it's going into that portal kinds of a thing, and against the backdrop. But then the moon is attached to the ground like a tree with hands, and so it's and then it has like a couple towers in the background, because in the moon card there is actually a tower here and a tower there, because the moon card, and it has like in the death card actually has two towers together, that in this one, in like the moon card, there are towers in the major arcana cards, and then but in the death card, the between the two little towers in the background is a sunrise coming. And then when you are looking in the moon card, there's a tower on one side and a tower on the other side, and there's a moon and the sun at the same time. And so it's just
like the Twin Towers?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about uh the tarot art. And I know that you don't really know, you only know the Fool image, because you had to paint that in middle school, if I remember from the conversation.
Oh, actually, that was the one I chose.
That was the one you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't assigned to me.
I see. Anything. So you chose that to be different, so that oh yeah, well, maybe nobody knows this, and I can kind of flash on the screen
I don't know. I must have been reading about it. That's like my only really experience with the tarot, and must have been reading about it at the time or something.
Yeah. I guess the way
that you remember that.
Well, I did remember that. I remember a lot of our conversations. I mean, because we go way back, don't we? Like till like almost 20 years ago now.
Wow.
It is 20 years ago actually, because you see, in 2006 we started that in the spring. We started that writers critique group.
I think you started that.
Well, yeah, but you helped me out. You got the place. You got the place in Queen Anne, and then we got that, and I brought along Larry, and did I ever tell you about a story about Larry that just kind of anyways, here's that moon card for anybody looking in. This is the moon card, and then I look at that and then we look at my moon image. Of course, the moon card is more fancier, but the moon card, and you have those two towers that are there, and I put those towers in.
I like yours.
What was that? You can hear.
I like yours.
Yeah, and then I like mine too, but I also, I like. Let me go get that death card out, and it has that same image repeated in it, and so in the death card back here are the towers of the moon card. And so it shows, because that's where the sunrise is coming, and it shows that yes, things are bad now, but look over there on the horizon. Look over there on the horizon. The sun is shining, and you are going to be reborn. But these things that have died, they're going to stay on the ground, but you are going to be reborn. So you're starting to fade. Okay, you're on the East Coast, Mangled Unicorn. Yeah. So, anyways, that's in the death card and the moon card they're united together. And so when I did my moon painting image, I put those towers in, but I put them in close together, just as just to show that. But if you don't know anything about tarot, then you wouldn't make the connection at all. So, and that's fine. I didn't want it to be too connecting, but yeah. So 20 years ago, we started that group, and it was because I met you essentially in 2005, and it was actually around.
Wow.
Yeah,
and happened.
Yeah, it was in 2005, and as artists, we hit it off, and
we thought we were old then.
I was. What was I like? I am. Oh, so 20 years ago, I was in my 30s. And it was before it was before I lost my hair. And it was before. I mean, of course, I was losing my hair, but it was before. I could, and then I had that.
Why you wear a band hat now?
That's why I wear a hat all the time. But I like that because it's part of my it's my thing for the show.
Actually, it looks like a map hat.
Yeah, maps. Yeah. The spam maps. Yeah. And so this is I got to figure out how to write the talk to me backwards, and then this is if I can be part of the
you can figure that out.
Be part of the show. I did, but I wrote the rest of it backwards. My show phone number.
I know, it was backwards and forwards. That's kind of good, actually.
Yeah, backwards.
Like multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
That would be cool to put in your moon card, some writing that's backwards and some that's forward. I mean, that's what's cool about art is, so at first I thought, okay, what does a teapot have to do with a turtle? And then I thought, and then like I said, I started to say about the bracelet. So the bracelet says, today is tomorrow is today is tomorrow. It just goes around and around. So it really doesn't matter that you put these different things together that are where you can't exactly explain, well, what does the teapot have to do with today is tomorrow is today? It just doesn't matter. In fact, we have that right as artists to just put things together, odd juxtapositions that make you kind of wonder. Like I'm asking myself, well, what does that have to do? Well, it was just I didn't have very many alphabet beads, and I got the bead. There was a purple house down the street, and I always wondered who lived in that house because I'm also very drawn to purple. So then one day there was a estate sale in the house, and I found out that the woman who lived there was an artist, and she had cancer, and she wasn't there anymore.
Oh.
But her house was so amazing inside, and like one of the customers was saying, "I want everything here."
Yeah.
And anyway, so there's only so much a person can carry, and you don't know. It's kind of like the doilies. Well, I used to go to the art supply store. Every time I went in there, I was allowed to get one sheet of decorative paper that I didn't really have a use for, but I just liked it. So that was what I did with the beads. I just got some beads because they were cool, but I didn't get a whole lot of them. So that's where. So it started with just today, and then I was going, talk about rabbit holes. I was thinking, okay, today is, what is today? Today is the first day of the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
It's not the most famous quote. So I was reading about where that quote came from, and anyway, talking to Matthew, and then he said something, because he's a very spiritual person too, and he's talking about some religion, I can't remember, but today is tomorrow. Okay. Oh yes, that's it. Today is tomorrow.
Today is tomorrow. So what is what is
today is tomorrow?
So Matthew's spirituality is more Eastern, I'm guessing.
He's actually Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern.
He's really drawn to. Yeah, he's very drawn to Middle East.
Oh, kind of like I am. Where I'm.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm really drawn to Gnostic to Gnostic thoughts and or Christian mysticism and and stuff like that, and I'm not too much, and then when it comes to like when I was living in Seattle, I did a lot of church tourism. I liked going to like the Orthodox services and I more or less I like going. I don't, I didn't necessarily subscribe to their theology, but when I went to like a Catholic mass, I really liked the more traditional things were, the more I liked it. So if it had the Latin in it, and if it had, the pipe organ, and I don't really go to Catholic church much since I moved back from back to Oregon, because it's like I never really liked the folk mass. I didn't like the guitar in it because you can't tune your voice to the guitar if you like to sing, and if you don't sing on key, it's so much easier to sing if there's a big giant pipe organ behind you blaring away, so that all you can hear is the pipe organ, and then you can't hear yourself and you can't hear your neighbor who's also off key, and then you can sing out your heart's content. And you know what I'm saying? It's like things like that, and and the more traditional things are, the more I like it, because it's the more there's that. I guess when I talked earlier about that whole material media thing and being able to connect your imagination into that experience, and so the esoteric aspect of your religious paths that exist, whether they be whatever they are, that the esoteric side, the hidden side, is really all about the experience of it, and not so much about the intellectual component of it. And so that a person who is, a mystically inclined, will more likely, to try to describe what it is that they ever experienced, they can't. And then, you have, how many of those Christian saints that were mystics, that um that ended up, if they did talk about exactly what it was that they experienced, then they ended up getting killed by the church, or during that time period, because, and it's not just the church, and then, because there was like a book that I read, and I wanted to talk about it on this channel. Reza Aslan's book, um welcome, I can't pronounce your channel name. um I wanted to talk about that book because he talks about his is a great book. It's called God, A Human History, and where he goes back through, and um, he looks at all the different ways that God in all the different cultures was represented, and then he goes back in and takes a look at it, and then, through history or whatnot. Well, this is how, because people tend to politicize their spirituality. This is that's how people they are. And so if you look at, let's say we look at in America today, and you look at the Christian nationalism, well, they're just doing what they're doing. Welcome, Hazel. They're just doing what people have been doing for thousands of years, since we had civilization, we had cities, we had city states, and we had the suffering that goes along with these systems of governance and so forth, is that people have been politicizing, taking the politics of whatever is going on in the day, and mythology, making it into a mythology, or the battles of the gods, or this or that. And so by looking at the myths in the past, and if you looked at it through that lens, that's what the politics of the day were. What were the issues in that was going on? And so when we look at our country today, this stuff is happening right now. The stuff that was happening before, when we have the battles between Zeus and this god and that god, and it's just the same thing, but you just, it's the same thing. That's what. And so one of the things in it, it was that kind of really kind of stood out, was it was a Sufi. He goes into the desert or whatever for 30 years, and he comes out with the realization that I am God too. And it's that statement that Jesus said. Maybe Jesus never said that, but was said about Jesus. But then when you go into the Eastern religions, they say that all the time. But when it is said in that context, it's not the same as a pharaoh declaring himself a god, or a Caesar declaring themselves as a god. It's a different kind of declaration.
Well, listen, William, I think I'm going to go, and I'm going to let you open the line so someone else can call.
Well, maybe they won't. But maybe what I'll do is I'll read a poem.
That sounds good.
Yeah, how about I read it?
But I still think
I know you gotta go.
You said if I talk for a couple minutes, and I mean, look at this. It's been quite a long conversation, so that's pretty good, huh?
It has been. It has been. All right. Thank you. I'll have to let you go. I know it's late for you. Not so late for me, but it's late for you. Thank you, Caroline. Carrie.
Just getting going.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Good luck with your new format.
Well,
I think it's good.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right. Let's see. Is that? There we go. Ended. All right. There we have it. Somebody called on the phone number, and if Lucy, if you're still there, if you want to call in and we can go down a different rabbit hole, I'll put the number back on the screen. It is for USA only because it is a otherwise it costs money. It's 503-902-1176. 503-902-1176. And that would be good because I know that I wanted to have you on my show. I know it's late in the evening for you. Maybe you're not prepared, but that's okay. I will read a poem while all you all are thinking. There is a poem, my ode to Art Bell, and I believe I have that in this big pile of. Oh, this is an earlier version. It's an earlier version of this poem. It's the longer version. Hazel, I remember your channel name. I remember also that when you popped in before, I couldn't pronounce it as well. And my own feelings, I don't, maybe Mangled Unicorn has gone to sleepy time because is rather late on the. Okay, I'll just read these two poems. I had to remember not to jiggle the microphone set. It's funny because you see my microphone stand, which also has my camera mount on it, and then I put on. I have one of these clamp arms, and I clamp that to it, and I have this USB-C microphone on it, and then when I jiggle the table, which it that motion somehow, because this is the cord for my headphones, that motion translates into motion on that microphone stand, and then it makes that noise, that woof 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 noise on the microphone, and which to me, when I hear it, it just annoys the hell out of me. But that's just me. It's my show, and there's a lot of technical things about this that just annoy the hell out of me, and it's when things don't work right. And so, anyways, I'm gonna read a poem, and just in case you didn't know that I am a writer. So the person who was on before was an old friend of mine. We go back, I think, 21 years now. 21 years, almost like to this month. I think it was more like March. Oh, so you're 10. Okay. All right. Well, the call-in part of the show is for people 18 and older, not for younger ones. But I'll read a poem here. Algebra reveals the mystery to address different matters, stunning in an intriguing way, circumscribed about a simple fashion, expressing the claim that R and B is the sum of the top and bottom, saying half again. The house's pulse. Bad girls lined up like ragged lawn chairs, strangled, lighting cigarettes like dodgeball players standing against the wall, waiting to get back into the game, drinking PBR from tall boy cans with kinky curly straws. Fat with power, they screech, zoom in to psychedelic sense colors on smartphone. The Punishment Brothers play metallic black rock on Hump Day at Owl's Den off Burnside in a subterranean bar. Well, good night, Hazel. Thank you for popping in for like 15, 20 minutes. I appreciated you being here. Maybe another poem, and then we'll go on and change gears again, go down to another rabbit hole. Ah, I wonder if this may not be okay. All right, it may not be completely appropriate, but we'll read it. Well, tomorrow I'm not necessarily. I may not be doing a show tomorrow because I haven't really been doing shows on Saturday. I have two channels, and so I do on Sunday, Monday. I think this week I did Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Did I do Wednesday? I did my other channel, and then Thursday, Friday, I've been doing this one. I may try to do this format tomorrow early in the day. That's providing I, wake up on time. Some of these poems aren't appropriate, or maybe I've moved past them. Okay, what do we got? I got a lot of stuff here. Okay, so you're going to go to a party tomorrow. All right, well, I'm doing a lot of not talking. All right, this is one from 2006, the year that in October. So it was after Carrie and I started that writers group in Seattle during my Seattle years. And I remember this time very, very well because I was at work as a doing accounting support work is what I did in Seattle, titled Fall Birds. Fall birds speaking, chattering tongues assemble at the train yard. Oh, so you live in Seattle. So I used to live in Seattle. I lived in Seattle from 2003 through 2011. So essentially like December 2003 to September 2011. Fall birds. Fall birds speaking, chattering tongues assemble at the train yard, swirl around, billowing like pillars of smoke. After starting one formation, then changing their minds, they settle back down between rusty lines of boxcars. Over and over again, the flock danced, following one leader, then another, darting different directions, gathering momentum for autumn's journey. After the noon sun ascended above the fog, the yard revealed silent cars, spackled white. Okay, so what I started out doing when I opened up the live stream, not knowing that I was going to actually get a caller, was I was talking about this journal that I have in my possession from a cousin, a aunt. I think she was as close as like an aunt. So I think the woman was my grandmother's aunt from yeah, I think that's how it was. My grandmother's or my great grandmother, I think of my great grandmother's aunt, who was born in the 1800s. And so it's the Journal of Uriah C. Bosworth. And the Bosworths were Mayflower descendants, and so back before the founding of the United States of America, there was the people who came here, and my mother's people came here on the Mayflower. My Mayflower parents are John Howland and Elizabeth Tilley. And so, but this journal is about how some of the relatives came out west. I live in Oregon and on the West Coast, and my Mayflower roots people lived in Ohio for about 100 years, and then they came, and so they came out west starting like in the 1880s up to like the 1920s, and so the progression was like that. So my grandmother and her folks, they came west by train or by car in the 1920s, but they had relatives that had already come out. They came out by train. They went to California by train, and then from California they came up on a covered wagon or a buggy, a covered wagon, up to Oregon City, and I think they settled in Oregon City. And the reason they came out is because one of the individuals, they were answering a job call to Pacific University. Pacific University is in Forest Grove, and the job call was to be a chaplain. Or yeah, because that part of my family, they were all religious folk. They were all preachers, and they were and so forth. So this Lucy Minor Bosworth, she was a missionary in China, and as a missionary in China, she had started a women's college in the 1800s, and and then also she wrote some books, and I think I have some of her books, or I have them flagged anyway. But this is it has a from it goes through what's in this journal is also the accounting of how much they paid for things to go from, the dollars and cents, how much it costs their journey to go from California up to where they finally ended their journey in um, Oregon. And maybe I'll just go read a couple of these journal entries. And so, mind you, we're starting in 1882, and we're looking at things that happened in 1882. Okay, so this is a long entry, and we're looking at June 1st, 1882. Let's go June 2nd, 1882. Friday, June 2nd, 1882. There's that microphone making that noise again. The mosquitoes troubled the folks on the ground terribly last night. The result is we are not very keen this morning. The road was splendid. It followed down the valley for several miles, then wound in among the foothills of the Coast Range till we reached Wairika. So coming up Wairika, they were coming up the coastline. Then out again into the bottom of our camping place, just on the banks of the Shasta. Mosquitoes again. The upper part of the valley was very much the appearance of the plains of Colorado. At one point, a little brown valley butte interposed and hid the whole grand old Shasta. At one point, a little brown valley of our real life, some dark little butte in this earth valley is sufficient to hide from our vision. If we will but allow it, the whole dazzling celestial mountain of God, Wairika, is a little old town with one quite a business street, a Catholic, an Episcopalian, and a Methodist church, and remarkable to a stranger for its 3 graveyards, all of them pretty well patronized. Funny, that's interesting. The graveyards are well patronized. They got lots of customers laying in the ground at the graveyard. If they could speak, they would probably tell of much violence. We passed in the mountains one day 2 heaps of stone with an upright stick in the center of each, like Absalom's tomb in the vale. A duel? It seems good to see grass in the dooryards once more, as we have for a few days. It's like home. We have missed the flowers of all the journey, having seen no flower garden worthy the name since leaving the coast. Pescadero is queen in that respect. Oh, how I would love to have a home to fix it up. We launched at noon under some balmy leaved cottonwoods, the stormy margin of a stormy brook told the children about David's choosing small stones from the brook when he killed Goliath. We're very thankful for the sound, even if it was hot. What I see when I read over this is that I see that the creative writing skills and how those creative writing skills are in me too. That colorful language of describing things, and so, like, where did that come from? Now, I know that my skills as of being kind of an esoteric minded person, that came from my dad's family. My great grandmother, who was a fortune teller, she read tea leaves, and I think maybe she even read playing cards. And my great grandmother from Sweden, and so there was this sort of a sensitivity to the mystical realm and everything. And so, these things, they are, maybe it's just all people have these experiences, that they experience the the divine realm in different ways, in a sense of your imagination being lit up by a feeling, a bird in the air coming around reminds you of a ancestor who you were close to in life, and you'd like to think that they were there to guide you along and guide you along. Your imagination lit up at that sight. And I didn't get it. I didn't find it. I was going to do it. I got so sidetracked editing a little video earlier, and I just sort of ran out of time. I was going to bring it in here. It was a reading from one of the Gnostic Gospels about the imagination and how it is that the imagination is how we connect to these spiritual levels, these mysteries that we cannot see with the eyes, but we know are there. We experience. That experience is what is known as the gnosis. And it's not a knowledge, it's a knowledge that is gained through experience. It's a knowledge that is not intellectual. It doesn't come from books, but it comes from experience. And it may be that we all have that ability to experience on the level of imagination, but it also may be that sometimes in our upbringing, that ability to experience gets shut down by people who, teachers and relatives and whatnot, who don't think you should be that dreamer or those flights of fancy that you take. And so I was a dreamer, and a big dreamer actually. I did get in trouble though from I got in trouble a little bit. I know there was something I was going to think about tonight, but I forgot what it was. My brain doesn't work as good as it used to. Anyways, this is my new show called Talk to Me, and if you are over the age of 18 and you want to be part of the show, you can call 503-902-1176. Let's get a clipping of that. Where's that? Okay. Yeah, so it's 503 902 1176. Talk to me. Become part of the show, and we can talk about anything you want to talk about. Almost anything within reason. No nasty talk, no partisan politics. We don't want to talk about that stuff that's going on, all the really bad stuff that's going on in our country today. Let's not talk about that. Maybe talk about fun things. I was talking about icons earlier and the material media, and this is a piece of material media that one can use their imagination in order to glean knowledge out of gnosis, knowing. And yes, there is this in the so if like let's say for instance, we're just going to segue into the notion. If you I've come from a Christian background, and I just got this big book here, a Christian background. This is the Torah, and within the biblical scriptures and within the New Testament scriptures, there is a prohibition against divination. However, we all do it. And there's a form of divination that is done that is completely accepted. So essentially what it is that divination is against biblical law if it's not if it doesn't come from your religion. I think the way you want to put it. And so in a sense, you can look at this practice here of randomly opening the Bible up to a random page and putting your finger down, and this with a question in mind, and you can look at it and say that is a form of divination. That's the form of like reading tea leaves, getting messages, or throwing some dice down, and then taking a look at the patterns that the dice make, and gleaning divine knowledge from that, or looking up into the sky and the clouds and looking at the patterns of the clouds, and your imagination connects into something and you gain information from that, because this is what divination is. It's about gaining information from a material media item like scriptures. And so on this page here, when I randomly flip to, we'll just take a look at what does it say. What does it say? When the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the outdoors, but Jacob was a wild man who stayed in camp. I wonder if a wild man is like Enkidu. Enkidu from the Epic of Gilgamesh. And Enkidu was a hairy man until the villagers in the kingdom, in Gilgamesh's kingdom, got tired of Enkidu stealing the apples and stealing things off their properties, and so then Gilgamesh sent a harlot down to the stream where Enkidu went every day, and the harlot tempted Enkidu, and they lay together, and then Enkidu lost his hair, and then the animals, the gazelles that he used to run free with in the wild, lost interest in Enkidu because they could see Enkidu was no longer wild. So I wonder if that's like a reference in this story, if that's a reference to the whole Epic of Gilgamesh and the Enkidu story. Jacob was a wild man. Oh, no, it doesn't say wild man. It says a mild man. Oh, I misread it completely. But that illustrates the point that I misread the word, and my mind went to another story altogether. Jacob was a mild man who stayed in camp. Isaac favored Esau because he had a taste for game, but Rebekah favored Jacob. Once, when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the open, famished, and Esau said to Jacob, "Give me some of that red stuff to gulp down, for I am famished," which is why he was named Edom. Jacob said, First sell me your birthright." And Esau said, "I am at the point of death, so what use is my birthright to me?" And Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob then gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank, and then he rose and went away. Thus did Esau spurn his birthright. So in a sense of when you open up a book to a random page, that actually is a practice called bibliomancy. It is a form of divination, and most religious folks who, in one fashion or another, they time to time have a question. They have a question. They come to the Bible with prayer and they open it up, and like magic, sometimes it happens just like that. At magic, a page opens up and there's a scripture there that is exactly what that person needed to hear in that moment. That is divination. That is divination. That is gaining knowledge out of material media and about the present, about the future, about the past. From a non 4D dimensional world, there is no time. We go backwards and forward through time because in our world, this world, we have I was mapping this out yesterday. Our world is a world of 4 dimensions. There's the height, there's the width. I'll just show you with an object. This is a three-dimensional object, and this is our world, but our world has a different dimension to it, which is time is movement. Movement. This is time. Now, in our world, time does not travel backwards, it only goes forward. It's motion going forward. If I were a physicist, I would be able to explain that to you better. It's been a long time since I studied physics. But our world of 4 dimensions, time is one of those dimensions, and time goes forward. But in the 5th dimension, the 6th dimension, in these other dimensions that our mind travels to, our imaginations travel to, those are outside of time. And so divination occurs in the dimensions beyond our 4 dimensional world. Beyond our 4 dimensional world is where the realm where divination occurs. It occurs when the mind, the imagination, is sparked by something in the environment, something from some material media, like a book, words on a printed page, an image. Sit and stare at one of these images long enough, and you will know something. You will gain knowledge. Or sit there and, let's say, stare into the eyes. Let me get to it. This is an icon of Mary Magdalene. I oftentimes will just stare into the eyes of Mary, seeing if Mary Magdalene will speak to me. In her hand is a red egg. That red egg is her truth that she has to share to the world. In her other hand is a vial. It is of anointing oils, the oils that she used to anoint Jesus's body, the embalming oils. But it's also like anointing oils, and so in the stories of the stories, you have the anointing. The priests or the judges, they anointed people chosen to be leaders. They use oil to anoint, and later they use water to baptize, to initiate you into a different way of thinking, a different way of being, like a higher aesthetic religious order, baptism. And then Christianity used baptism as a means to initiate you into this new order of being. And it's a symbolic thing. And then sometimes when you are baptized, you experience something that you didn't experience before, and you gain knowledge from that experience. You gain gnosis, you gain a knowing, a knowledge. So material media's divination, looking into the eyes of this figure, is a form of divination, just as using tarot cards is also a form of divination. Now, I see, when I look at things, I don't see any difference between the practices of opening up the Bible to a random page. I use that in my tarot practice, opening the Bible up to a random page and looking in to see if there is something there that is relevant to the question at hand. That, or going in and pulling a random card from a pack of tarot cards and taking that random card and seeing what it has to say to you. This is the star card, and we are talking about imagination and pulling that imagination, and the camera lights are reflecting on this awfully bad. I'm covering up the nudie part, so I am YouTube friendly. But you have that sense of, what does that mean? What does that image mean? Now, granted, this is not necessarily a tarot channel, but this is a channel. It's my channel. We talk about random things. We've gone down to a random rabbit hole. Talk about cosmic things. Talk about things like art, things that matter, things that matter. Anyways, I have talked on here for 90 minutes. I am limited by how much battery I have on my phone. Someday, if I get a powered hub, then I can do this show for longer. There's other things that I'm trying to figure out how to do. I need a better setup for that microphone so that it doesn't move. It doesn't move, and there it doesn't make the noises that it makes, that woof, 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 woof sound from the motion of from the motion. And then maybe I can hook up a little 2-channel mixer to it. Have so on one channel I have the sound, and then with that mixer you can tune it so you can get better mid-range and better sounds from the microphone, a better sounding thing. So maybe it sounds better to you. That's what I want, things to sound better. And maybe on a second channel I'll put some other kind of noise down, so when I get up to take a break, or if it's late at night like this and I need to do my caregiving duties and I have like 10 minutes that I take out for helping my mother in her nighttime things, and do that, or take a short break. But to do that, I really need the powered hub. I don't think I have one in my wish list. I should put one in my wish list, the powered hub. I think they're like $30, so that you can do multiple hookups. What I have in the hub that I do have, it has an Ethernet connection. So this phone is actually, I'm doing this on a Motorola Android phone, and it is not using the room Wi-Fi. I'm actually hardwiring this thing right into the internet, and so this is using the Ethernet line. I have an Android hub, a USB-C hub, and and so it's got three USB plugs on it, but it doesn't take a power cord, so I'm not doing a power cord. One of them coming in is the Ethernet. The Ethernet coming in the back, and then this Ethernet plugs directly into it, and then this USB mic that I'm talking into, that also plugs into it, and it plugs right into the USB-C mark. But a powered hub would allow me to connect it to a power source so that I can do this program or other programs for longer than like 2.5 hours. Now, I just talked about a bunch of boring crap, and so I think I'm winding this show down. I have more to say on imagination and divination and esoteric matters. I have more to say on that, but until the next time, this is Talk to Me. Be part of the show. This is the show where you can be part of the show by calling the number 503-902-1176. That's 503-902-1176. And I'm going to sign off for the night. Unless somebody wants to talk about whatever, call in, providing you're from the United States. That's a Google Voice number for the United States, not for other countries, not for Canada, not for Mexico, not for any place else, because it's just free within the United States. And I don't have very much money, so I can't exactly afford to take a call. I think that it would be like what, cents per minute, 10 cents, 25 cents, like a charge on a per minute basis. And I don't know if we charge me on a per minute basis to have you calling in from some other part of the world. Anyways, I've rambled on for a long time here, and maybe we'll just look at my art one more time. And I did this on this show. This here, I like this one. I like this one a lot. And so tonight we had Carrie, and Carrie is an artist. She does all kinds of different art. And I met Carrie 21 years ago in Seattle. We've done lots of work together. And she's been one of my rock. She's been a rock in my life when it comes to artistic things. And then there's another rock I have in my life too. And that's my brother from another mother. And the rocks in my life. And we all have rocks, right? And then this one was done with Roots and Waves. And Roots and Waves is not on YouTube anymore. I miss Roots and Waves. And then we have this. This is some of my art done on this show, in fact, when I was doing art on this show. But anyways, that's all I got for you. This is Talk to Me. 503-902-1176. Signing off. And I'll be back next Friday. I have another guest coming in, and we're going to be talking about health and wellness in these trying times and how to stay mentally healthy, mentally well, when it seems that the whole world is falling apart, that the sky is falling, and you're running around like Chicken Little, shouting, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling." And so how do we stay well in times like that? I'll leave you with that thought. Tune back in 8:30 Pacific time next Friday night. I may come on like 10 minutes late like I did tonight. That happens. It's not 10. It's not 8:30 punctual time. It's 8:30 999 show time. Thank you and good night. Everybody who tuned in, Hazel, Lucy Warren's World, some random idiot, the mangled unicorn, and walk in the park, and Daniel preaching Jesus saves. But I think I know how it is that Jesus saves. It's not that Jesus saves, it's that you walk in your own shoes and you become the person you were created to be and live an authentic life of service to others. All right. Good night. Bye-bye.